see anything wrong with these people.
No, I just think they're Australian.
When was the last time you were afraid? Really afraid?
The thought of his tawny in his cock.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast, your weekly guide to all things horror from the heart of which city? Salem, Massachusetts.
We're so lucky to be young and in love and in Salem.
We sure are, everybody. I'm your old pal, Ken, a.k.a. Rock and Roll Rider Sleaze Grinder, and there she is, everybody, at Salem's greatest huntress. It's Kelly Kapow.
Hey!
Let's fucking party!
Soon to be...
Fucking do it.
Soon to be 1 year older.
Yeah, the big old 33.
Wow, 33.
Congrats.
Thank you. I really haven't hit my peak yet. I was saying the other day that I just feel like I just keep getting better looking with every year.
You know what's...
But at this rate, I think I'm going to peak around maybe 60.
You know what is interesting is that I read a bunch of polls that said that the basic idea is that people are most attractive, according to other people, at around the early 30s. So
whoa! So this is it for me, huh?
From like 31 to 33.
Shit.
That's when most people... It's funny because you would think... Because I always thought... I mean, it's really hard to be unattractive when you're 18 or 19 years old. But but at that point, you still... I mean, you know, most people are good looking at that age. But
and let me tell you, some people still manage to do it.
I know it is true.
So.
It is true. But I mean, it's hard to find a bad-looking 18-year-old. But that's also not the way that you're going to end up looking. By the time you hit your early 30s, that's basically what you're going to look like. But you look like an adult and you look like what you're going to look like. But there's no signs of aging yet. So it's kind of a real sweet spot. So you're right in it, Kelly. Enjoy it. And,
there's definitely signs of aging, all right? You haven't seen me topless. There are definitely signs of aging over here.
So while you've got it, flaunt it.
All right, haunt it.
Haunt it and flaunt it. Also, everybody, there he is, Rui, the 16-year-old intern.
Yay, Rui!
I was a teenage werewolf. Fantastic. Bewildering.
Hey, Rui, so, you know, Stacey, we have a new project that we're working on, the worst to the best of the Heavy Leather Topless Dance Party.
Right.
Rui, how far along are you in your part of of the job?
I've been trying to do like 5 episodes a day.
Yeah.
I've gotten to like 10.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty
Yeah.
good. How many clips do you have?
I've got a couple. I mean...
You've only got 2 clips?
How many episodes are there?
There's 152 episodes. So what we're
Holy
doing
shit.
is...
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're pulling the best clips from all of the episodes, and then we're going to do a new show where we just present the clips and we talk about what happened backstage and all that kind of stuff. It's going to be really fun, but we have to make all these clips. So I did the first 50 because I was the only one there for the first 50 episodes. So I cut like 52 clips from the first 50. And
You've had a busy week.
And I gave Rui the last 50 because he was there for all those. So yeah. I'm sure I'll get to it in time.
Yeah.
All right.
What's the deadline again?
I think we'll start shooting them in August. So, it's by the end of July.
You got plenty of time.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay, good. Hey, also producing the show tonight, it's horror show director Stacey Dawn.
No one messes with Stacey and lives.
And of course, our most famous friend, Survivor, and horror show assistant director Larsa is here.
Woo!
Nice.
Eye of the Tiger. She's a survivor. She's a survivor.
Yeah.
I actually got recognized yesterday by one of the protesters.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
But mostly because of the tattoo was out, the tattoo with the cat was out, and that's how he was like, "Oh, are you Lisa from Survivor?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah. Oh, it's always nice to
God,
be
what's it
recognized.
like to be famous?
Yeah, tell us what it's like. Bring us into it.
We will have to ask somebody famous, actually.
I wouldn't be able to handle all that pressure. You know what I mean?
Well,
yeah, sometimes if I go to like places that I know there's gonna be like a big crowd, I do put makeup just in case.
I'm used to like people being like, "Oh shit, there's Kelly. Don't make eye contact."
Kelly is just being facetious. She's actually probably one of the more well-known. She's a local celebrity in Salem for sure.
Please don't gas me up like that. That's not true.
It's absolutely the truth. Everybody knows her, and she's very popular in the local scene. So she knows what it's like to be a celebrity on a microcosmic scale.
Can I have your autograph?
Yeah, Rui, you can have it.
All right, everybody. Well, it sounds like the bats are in the belfry. Yeah, I hear them. I think the monsters are chained up in the dungeon downstairs. And
what could that mean, Ken?
Stace, I think the wolves are howling. There they are, and the wind, it's lashing the house. It's time to get to the show, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bats.
Perfect. Thank you, Bats.
Good work, fellas.
So relax, everybody. We're now in the magic circle.
The magic circle. You're standing inside it.
We are. We're standing inside the magic circle, and we're going to stay here for the duration. This week and every week, we'll have a little horror news. We'll be talking about some horror movies we've seen lately, and we'll be reviewing a film together. This week, it's the new horror comedy from Australia, a.k.a. The Land Down Under. Two Heads Creek is what it's called. We're going to be talking about that. Now, Stace, so Kate can't be with us this evening.
Right.
So instead, I will be presenting my new segment, the Week in Death. So every week I'll be telling you about some notable people who died this week. Different years, of course, but but people who died on this very week. Here we go. Jane Mansfield, age 34, car crash, 1967.
So beautiful, so young.
Almost decapitated from that. Didn't really get decapitated, but almost. There's a documentary. What's it called? Mansfield 66, 67, I think. That's about her and her relationship with the Satanic Church and her death and all the mysterious stuff that surrounded it. It's really interesting. Check that out one of these days.
So she was at her prime in looks-wise, right? When she died then?
Absolutely. Right there at the peak, age 34. If she kept going, she might have get past the peak. And that would have been troublesome. So, but we'll never know. Because 34 is when she went. Hey, everybody. Bob Crane, star of Hogan's Heroes. You remember Hogan's Heroes, Stace?
Mm-hmm.
Murdered, age 49, 1978.
Murdered?
Murdered. Mysterious circumstances. Jesus. He was part of, Stace, he was part of the, some kind of weird sexual underground,
I
if you
believe
remember.
there's a movie about that, too.
There is, yeah. Michael Landon, star of I Was a Teenage Werewolf.
Wow.
Bonanza and Highway to Heaven.
Little House on the Prairie.
Exactly. There's another one. Dead of Cancer, age 54, 1991. Famous DJ Wolfman Jack. Remember that guy, Stace?
I do.
Love that guy.
Nobody else here does.
No.
No.
Way before that time.
I don't remember a Wolfman Jack. I'll tell you that.
If you were to remember a Wolfman Jack, you'd have fond memories of Wolfman Jack. Dead of a heart attack, age 57, 1991.
Just watch American Graffiti.
Oh yeah, he's in that.
All right.
Actress Margot Hemingway, sister of Mariel Hemingway, star of many erotic thrillers. Dead by suicide, age 41, 1996.
Aww.
That's always sad. Hey, Fred Gwynne, a.k.a. Herman Munster, also star of Pet Sematary. Dead of pancreatic cancer this week, 1993. Age only 66. Pancreatic cancer is a tough one. You don't know it until you don't know you got it until it's killing you.
This is depressing as fuck, Ken.
Yeah.
Jim Morrison, dead of heart failure, 1971. joining the 27 club. That's all the rock stars that died at age 27.
Right.
Just a couple more. Just a couple more. We'll move on. We'll bring it up.
Oh my God.
This is a bad week.
Singer Barry White. You remember him.
Who the hell doesn't?
Dead of kidney failure at 58, 2003. And finally, this week in death, beloved Joy of Painting host Bob Ross.
Oh, that's right.
Everybody loves that guy.
Happy Little Trees.
Happy Little Trees, exactly. Dead of lymphoma. This week, age 52, in 1995. And that, everybody,
The people that died.
is this week in death. Remember to enjoy every breath. Death is coming for you. And the weird thing is...
What the fuck?
And the weird thing is... Death knows when it's coming for you, but you just don't know when it's coming for you. So just keep that in mind.
Yes, you do.
Thank you, everybody.
So insightful.
I feel like now you have to play something very cheerful.
It's the day. That was the week in death, everybody.
What the hell?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good job.
Honestly, I felt like I did a good job selling it.
You did. I mean,
Thank you.
you
I was-
definitely made it dark and depressing.
I was going to try to do Fred Gwynn in Pet Cemetery, and I tried this morning, and I couldn't. He goes, he had the Maine accent in that.
Oh, right.
Sometimes dead is better. That was the line. I can't do it, though. I can't do a Maine accent. Sometimes dead is better. I can't
Now
do
you
it.
sound like you're trying to
I
do an
didn't know
Australian
Maine had an
accent.
accent. Maine has an accent?
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of his was a little Kennedy-like. I can't. Sometimes it's if I gave it a.
I can hear that you're getting there, but you're not there.
Right, Stace. If you gave me 20 minutes, I'd get it. But I don't have 20 minutes. Hey, you guys ever...
Next week, guys. I'll have it.
You guys ever watch American Horror Story? The
Yeah,
TV show?
a few here and there.
Okay.
Couple of seasons.
American Horror Story spin-off, American Horror Stories, will be a weekly anthology that will feature a different horror story each episode. It's going to be debuting on Hulu next year. I thought that was interesting because I don't want to dedicate the time into a whole series of these things. American Horror Story is the longest running show in FX history and was renewed for a 13th season earlier this year.
That might actually be pretty good because I feel like each season it starts off really well and then by like mid it's just becomes an utter shit show. So I think they can't really fuck up one episode.
Yeah, so
like
if they
one
could,
story,
you can if you just get through it all in an hour, and then we can move on. That would be great.
Yeah.
It seems like something that I would have watched, but I watched the debut episode whenever that came out, and the editing in it really annoyed me, so I never watched it again. People have seen it. Are there any boobs in it? American Horror Story?
No boobs.
No boobs.
It's a made for TV. It's like FX, right? FX doesn't show boobs.
Yeah.
Not HBO.
Yeah, I mean, as time goes on, I feel like there's more nudity on cable, but I wasn't sure whether. I guess American Horror Story was FX is a cable channel, so they probably could if they wanted. They just chose not to.
Well, it's like what the hell's that guy's name? Ryan Murphy, who did didn't he do that singing show? What the hell was that called?
Glee, right?
Glee, yeah.
Yeah, there was no.
So maybe
boobs
it's
in
like
Glee.
kind of PG-13.
Yeah.
And political too, right?
American Horror Story or Glee?
No, yes, political is by this guy too.
Oh, Political is You're saying Political is a TV show?
The politician.
The Politician. There you go.
Oh, I've never seen it. He's done a lot of stuff.
Doesn't sound like there's boobs in that one either.
Why does Larissa sound like she's in a stadium?
There's no boobs on that one either.
Well, then what the hell is the point?
Exactly. Netflix has resurrected the classic 90s series Unsolved Mysteries with a brand new
started it.
With a brand new reboot series that's out now courtesy of the original creators and the producers of Stranger Things. The first 6 episodes are on Netflix and I believe are already the number one series on there.
It is very, very scary.
The press release details fusing signature elements from the original series with contemporary, immersive, character-driven storytelling. The 12 new episodes are rooted in the experiences of ordinary people who have lived the unthinkable. From the trauma of a loved one's unexplained disappearance or horrific death to the shock of a bizarre paranormal encounter, alongside detectives and journalists, family members offer clues, present theories, and identify suspects, hoping one viewer holds the key to solving the mystery. So it sounds like, Kelly, you've seen some of the new Unsolved Mysteries.
I told myself that I wasn't going to watch any of it because you know me. You know how paranoid I am. And I was like, I can't do that to myself. I've done it way too much to myself in the past. And then I spend like an hour every night checking all the locks, checking in every fucking closet, looking in every corner. So I did it. I watched the first 2 episodes. And I was so paranoid all night. And I'm laying in bed and I was freaking out. I was so scared. And then I finally fell asleep. And just so fucking happens that our giant like clock in the kitchen fell off the wall in the middle of the night. So with this, it took me forever to fall asleep because I was so scared. And then it sounded like someone broke into my fucking house at 2 a.m. It was a rough
behind you.
Yeah.
So maybe you shouldn't watch this show, it sounds like.
I don't think I should.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not the same without Robert Stack or Dennis Farina, though.
Yeah, so I guess this one doesn't have a host, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, if you're a fan of the Babadook, are you a fan of the Babadook, Kelly?
Yeah, I loved the Babadook.
Mr. Babadook figures are available from Little Shop of Gore. Handmade by Ryan Ward and Selena Kyle. Each solid cast resin piece stands 5.5 inches tall. Standard version costs $24.99, and the Pride variant, which is obviously a rainbow-colored Babadook, is $29.99. With profits,
I want to thank whoever started that.
With the profits from the latter being donated to the Human Rights Campaign. I've only seen it once, so I don't really remember why it's gay, but I know Babadook is very popular with the LGBT community.
I don't know why it's gay. I think somebody randomly just said, "This is it. This is the new gay cheerleader or whatever."
It doesn't. When you're watching it, I don't get why it's gay. But I just know that gay people love the Babadook. So I figured. We got a couple of lesbians here, and neither you can explain why the Babadook is popular.
So Jess knows why.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so we're in an office. The reason why it's gay is because Netflix accidentally listed it underneath LGBT movies for
That's right.
By accident.
Really?
Sure was an accident.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So that's why it's gay, because of
Yes. And then people made it the gay icon because it was listed under there. And there were all sorts of jokes where people yeah, of course he's gay. Look at his top hat and look at his big smile and And Larissa, I actually thought you wore in a fucking office.
Yeah.
Your background.
She's very good with
that.
that.
That's why I thought we couldn't hear you well because it's such an open space.
The office.
So there you go. Thank you. Thank you very much, Jess. Jess, there she goes.
Thank you, Jess.
She explained it. So it's not thematically, there's nothing especially gay about Babadook. It's just that
He's
he was
a little flashy.
Yeah, well, it's true. Got a nice hat and everything. But he was just misfiled, and now he's a gay icon. Sometimes that's all it takes. It's time, everybody, for some bad news. All right, everybody. We're a horror show, so we like bad news. Let's hear some. Rue, what do we got?
All right, so this comes from the land of swamps and gators. Alligator with missing limbs shows up on Florida man's porch.
Okay.
July 1st.
Wait a minute.
A large what's up?
So the alligator was missing limbs.
Yep.
Okay.
So July 1st, a large alligator with 2 missing limbs has a new home at a reptile rescue after it showed up on a Florida family's front porch. The 8-foot 9-inch alligator, that is massive. Maybe not for an alligator, but for an animal, that's big.
Yep.
Was spotted on Tuesday at the front door of a home in Tampa, and the residents called for help removing the unwelcome reptile. Karina Sura Panner and John Panner, who run the Croc Encounters Wildlife Sanctuary and operate as nuisance alligator trappers.
What a job.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they get plenty of business in Florida.
You know what? They would get almost no business up here, so it's a good thing that they're in Florida.
Almost.
They'd just be sitting in an empty office waiting for something to happen.
Yeah. Operators at nuisance alligator trappers contracted with the state were summoned to his scene to capture the alligator. Quote, he was not too happy to be evicted from his comfortable shady spot as he smashed everything in sight upon exiting.
There he goes. Oh my God. Oh, what a mess. Good God.
Wait, how is he smashing things?
Yeah, he's only got two legs, and he does have a big tail. All right, take it easy, alligator.
That's some alligator.
Jesus, buddy.
Man, he's grouchy.
Yeah. So what happened to him?
Said in a Facebook post, the post said the alligator was missing 2 limbs, most likely as a result with another gator. The alligator will have a new permanent home at Croc Encounters, the post said.
So the alligator got into a fight with another alligator, and the other alligator, it sounds like, bit off a couple of his legs. Wow.
Yeah. And then he showed up at that person's house, like, help me, I don't have any legs.
Yeah, he's hardly even an alligator anymore. He's more of a snake than anything else.
Oh, yeah. A giant fucking snake.
He's just a giant 2-legged snake.
Yeah. So clearly this guy does not get along with other gators.
Why would people live in Florida? I wonder now that he's at the sanctuary whether they'll give him some, couple little robot legs or something.
Probably like a
couple wheelies, yeah.
Do you think he's going to start a lot of fights in there with other gators, though?
Yeah, I think so. He clearly doesn't like other gators, so their first move was to put him in an enclosed area with a bunch of other gators.
Right.
Gator Fight Club?
Yeah.
Gator Fight Club.
He's not very good at it, that's for sure.
Well, either that or he won.
Hey, he's like, you should have seen the other gator, man.
Yeah.
Think I look bad?
Very good.
All right.
Next, please.
Ghost hunters probing potty mouth ghoul at site of historical murder.
Okay, here we go.
Ghost hunters are probing reports of a potty mouth apparition swearing at tourists at a popular UK sightseeing spot. The angry apparition is said to be a woman in white who tells people to fuck off in an area known as the Dead Woman's Ditch.
That's the place I would avoid, Dead Woman's Ditch. So far, we haven't gotten too far into the story yet, but so far it just sounds like there's an angry lady at Dead Woman's Ditch.
In her pajamas,
right,
just like
exactly.
yelling at people.
Yeah.
It's really just me over there telling people to fuck off. Christine and Dave Thomas are investigating the site named after the murder of Jane Walford by her husband John in 1789 on the Quantock Hills in Somerset. The couple say they picked up on a voice which told them to fuck off. They also claim to have they've encountered a murderer from 1798. Dave said, my wife has experienced it for a long time. There's residual memories being replayed. Then there are some voices you can interact with. Some can be quite nasty, evil. Not everybody is aware of ghosts.
Again, it sounds like it's just people hanging out there that they're interacting with.
Telling people to fuck off.
Yeah.
When you walk across a car park and a Post-it note falls out of the sky with no one or buildings near, as in the middle of a car park. What? Okay, so they're saying that a Post-it note just fell out of the sky?
Some wind would do that.
Yeah, someone would definitely do that. A few days later in the same place, both myself and my friend here, we heard whispering in our ears saying, hello. Another time, I was walking the canal and saw an old man walking towards me with a dog. It was a winter's evening, so dark. The man got near me and was looking down towards the ground wearing a cap. He mumbled hello, and I said hello back. After about 20 to 30 seconds. I looked back to see no man there. I'd walked that way and knew that there was nowhere he could go as long as the canal, and there was no splashes or anyone falling in the water.
Okay, so down a dead woman's ditch, people are seeing strange things, and they want to get to the bottom of it. But everything so far, if it's dark out, so the guy passes by you and you can't see him, it's because it's dark out, right?
So is he saying that the old man that he saw with the dog, so the dog is a ghost too?
I think both. I think that both the dog and the old man is the ghost. And when are ghosts utilizing Post-it notes?
I don't know. Do they carry pens on them?
But for sure, even if the rest of that is true, the beginning part where they're worried about the ghost with the foul mouth, it's just a crazy lady in the woods with a foul mouth. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I imagine it to be? It's just a bunch of like locals, and you have these paranormal investigators going in.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you see that over there? Look at that deathly pale woman over there. And she's like, I can hear you. Fuck off.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it. And that's honestly what 90% of this ghost hunting is. Well, that's fun. Hey, what's next?
Man with horse and cart furious after being denied service at KFC. A traveler says he was left humiliated after KFC refused to serve him at a drive-thru while he was riding a horse and cart. Ian Bell, 55, made it as far as the kiosk window last week, only for a manager to come out and say he would have to leave for the health and safety of the other customers. He says he doesn't understand as his horse, John, is as good as gold.
Oh, I bet he is.
Adding horse and carts were around long before motor cars.
How old is this guy?
I like that he called them motor cars. He's 55 years old. Why is he calling them motor cars?
He's 55, but from 1869.
Maybe he's a ghost.
That's possible.
That's more believable, yeah.
Photos show Ian and John, a 7-year-old Irish cob, pitched outside the KFC restaurant in Carlisle, Cumbria. Ian said, I queued up behind some cars and was about to order a bargain bucket when all of a sudden this manager came out and said, you're not allowed through. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'd done nothing wrong. John was behaving himself and he was quiet as a lamb. He's a very well-behaved horse.
I like John a lot.
Me too.
In the end, I had to go to McDonald's for a Big Mac.
The poor man.
No one there batted an eyelid. They didn't say anything to me at all. They just served me my food. Dad of one, Ian added. I think my treatment from... I don't know why it matters that he's a dad of one.
It just adds a little flavor.
I think my treatment from KFC has been downright disgusting and discriminatory against people who use horse and carts. The horse and cart is a common way to get around where I'm from. The fast food franchise has spoken out in the defense of the manager's decision to deny Ian and John service, insisting the safety of the guests is really important.
Well, first of all, number one, I don't see how the horse is endangering the guests in a drive-thru.
Yeah, it's just going through the drive-thru.
Yeah, exactly.
Just walking. It's not trampling anyone.
Yeah, what is the horse gonna do?
Somebody get John and this human a 6-piece and a biscuit at once.
Exactly.
This is absolutely out of control.
And imagine, and the worst part is, so Ian in his head had a bargain bucket. That's what.
And he ended up with a
Big goddamn Mac. Big Mac. It's not the same.
No.
Yeah, it's not.
People in their cars aren't really endangered by somebody with a horse and a cart.
Well, I personally find this a complete outrage.
That's weird.
What if he had parked it and then went in?
Yeah, that would have been fine. He could have just parked. He could have parked the horse in the parking lot.
I don't know whose side I'm on anymore.
Look, here's the thing: is that if KFC is KFC is not worried about hygiene. Have any of you ever seen a KFC parking lot? There used to be a KFC off Broadway, and it was the parking lot was a death trap, frankly.
What was happening in the parking lot, buddy?
You could buy any kind of illicit substance you want in that KFC parking lot.
I remember there was I used to work down there. I ran a group home a couple of just a block away from that KFC, and there was a bank next to the KFC, and there was an armed robbery there one afternoon. It was very exciting.
At the bank or the
Yeah,
KFC?
no, not at the KFC. At the bank. The bank was next door.
Give me
And,
all your chicken.
Yeah, exactly. So
raw chicken.
So you're right. That is a particularly
All drumsticks.
That at least was a troublesome block, Rui. So you're right there.
Yeah.
And they tore it down, the KFC, as far as I know, right? It's no longer there.
I don't think we're talking about the same KFC.
Maybe he didn't feel safe leaving John in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Seems a lot of rascals around.
Absolutely.
Of course. We are talking about the KFC on Broadway, near the ice cream place. Am I right?
No, it's like, well, now it's a Panda Express, but it's like, it's near the East Somerville School.
Rui, let's continue on with the bad news if we can. This is getting way too local for the global community.
Yeah, you just want to take one turn onto Broadway. Hey, once you see the liquor store on the corner, you know you're there.
Let's just continue.
All right. So, Canadian Tire store forced to close after every item scans as Mr. Potato Head.
This is definitely one of the best I've heard in a while.
The wonders of technology.
Yeah.
All right. A spudtacular mess-up baffled shoppers and staff at Canadian Tire stores across Southern
It wasn't just one
Ontario
store.
this
It was
weekend.
many stores.
Yeah. On the morning of Monday, June 29th, customers filed into Canadian Tire stores in Lindsay and Whitby. What kind of name is Whitby? As usual, filling baskets as they browse through the aisles. However, upon getting to a point of sale, people quickly realized that there was something completely bizarre happening. Cash register attendants were left bewildered after every single item they scanned came up reading Mr. Potato Head. No matter what the staff tried, the glitch couldn't be corrected, and workers were eventually forced to temporarily close their stores.
Hey, Rui, I believe, weirdly enough, Stace, I believe I have some sound from this incident.
Huh.
So let's take a listen to what it sounded like over at the tire store.
It's Mr. Potato Head. Damn it. It's Mr. Potato Head. Dag it, nag it, nab it, dag it. It's Mr. Potato Head. Damn it, fellas. Damn it. Oh,
Yeah, that's the way it sounded.
I believe that that's exactly what was happening.
That was a real problem. So what happened, Rui?
This was an abnormal occurrence only at our Lindsay and Whitby stores.
Okay.
Explained Canadian Tire rep Kathy Kurzbuck. What a sad job. Speaking to Kawartha 411 News, the company attributed the unappealing issue to a downloading error, which caused item names to instead appear as the same as the popular children's toy. It has since been corrected and the stores are opening normally, Kuzbek said. According to the company's head office, a total of 5 Canadian Tire stores in Lindsay and Whitby were impacted by computer system glitch. It's good to see that they eventually got the root of the problem.
Right.
Get it? Root? Because it's a root vegetable?
The root.
Wow. Okay. That's a big major fuck up right there someone...
It's an incredible fuck up. I mean, like, it's just, like, it's so specific that it would be this one thing that... Right? I mean, how did that even happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a tire store. So, like, how... Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's pretty kooky.
Also, the other thing that I like about that story, I don't know what happens in a tire store, but I like the fact that people are walking around with shopping carts at the tire store.
Is it really a tire store? Is it?
What are you putting in? What are you putting in your shopping cart at the tire store?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Maybe
fucking Canadians. What are they up to?
I don't know.
It's a department store. That's why.
Well, it says Canadian store, Stace.
Yeah, it says
A tire store. Canadian
Google.
tire
It says anything from auto parts to home decor, outdoor living, fitness equipment, tools, etc., etc.
Okay, all right.
So
that
there
makes
you
a
go.
little more sense.
Yeah.
What's a worse shop that this glitch could happen to? Same exact problem, but what shop would be even worse?
I don't know. You stumped us all.
I hope you know, really.
I don't know, like a hospital maybe.
I will
That's
say
not a
that.
store though.
I will say that.
Well, in America,
you don't
kinda
like
is.
check out after you get a new kidney. They're not just like, all right, that'll be $17,999. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Here you go. Here's your new kidney. Let's get that in the cash register.
Oh, you wanted us to put that in? That's a little more expensive.
Dag nabbit, dagged, nagget, nabbit, daggett. It's Miss.
Ken loves that. He's so proud of that little clip.
Yeah, I did that this morning. I felt pretty good about it. Hey, let's get to the next one.
All right. I'm glad that we're doing a wholesome one.
Okay, good.
This is nice. Man with shoe fetish stole 126 pairs of flip-flops so he could have sex with them.
Yes. Come on. Whatever gets you through the night, man.
Did he have sex with all of them at the same time? That's the question. All right. A man has been arrested.
He was just awash in them. He was covered in flip-flops.
Yeah,
let's find out what happened.
A man has been arrested in Thailand for allegedly stealing his neighbor's shoes in order to have sex with them. Thirapat Klea, 24, had a fetish for flip-flops and was found with a staggering 126 pairs that he had pinched from locals in Nonthaburi, central Thailand, police said. Officers identified Klea using footage from CCTV set up outside his latest alleged victim's home. When they searched the man's home, they found his sprawling collection of shoes that he had claimed he'd been collecting for more than 2 years. Klea said he would wear them around his home as it turned him on, police claimed. He allegedly told police officers that after several hours of wearing the flip-flops, he cuddled and kissed them, stripping off and rubbing them on his body before having sex with them. Police said his collection included dozens of different brands, sizes, colors of shoes, all of them well worn. Well, he doesn't discriminate. That's nice.
I don't know how you have sex with a flip-flop though.
Yeah, let's not hear about the logistics.
I feel like you could put two flip-flops together and
just rub them together
in such a way.
Okay. To get some friction going?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of flopping around.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I mean, it sucks that obviously you can't go around stealing your neighbor's flip-flops because they need them to wear.
Yeah.
But as far as, weird sexual fetishes go, it's pretty benign,
Yeah, I mean, it could be a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah, there are worse things you could do than to be fucking flip-flops. It's funny. I find flip-flops in general to be unappealing in almost every way.
Yeah, pretty much.
And certainly sexually.
Yeah, for like a foot fetish or a shoe fetish, he really went in the other direction here.
Right.
I mean, it'd be one thing if they were like high heel stilettos.
Exactly.
Or
like leather boots
sexy
or
dom
something.
boots or something. Yeah. But flip-flops, that's like the least sexiest of the shoe.
I can't think of a less, except for Crocs maybe, I can't think of a less sexy.
At least the Crocs have holes in them. You could kind of penetrate.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, there's pretty small holes. Hey, have you ever?
That's pretty small penis.
Kelly,
local comedians.
Kelly, have you ever worn Crocs?
No, hell no.
Okay.
These things are fucking hideous.
They really are terrible.
Have you seen the steel-toed Crocs?
Oh my God!
Stop it.
They're real.
Hey, Lursa, have you ever worn Crocs? Maybe you wore them in Survivor or something.
No, those are awful. But
you,
our dog, now that we're talking about flip-flops, our dog decided that she was going to eat my flip-flops this week. And actually this morning I said, I might buy some Crocs because those look like indestructible. So who knows, maybe next podcast I will have some Crocs and I will let you know.
All right, well.
I don't think they're indestructible. They seem like they're made out of the same material as like a flip flop.
So she'll eat them too then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Crocs are just like major boner killers.
Oh my God, they sure are. Hey, lastly, this week on Bad News.
Man ruptured his bladder after holding in pee for 18 hours.
Holy shit.
That's how it sounded, Stace.
Well, it probably sounded worse because he was ruptured.
It was also internal organs spilling out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's closer to what happened. 40-year-old man in China reportedly suffered 3 bladder tears after drinking 10 beers and then holding in pee for a shocking 18 hours. Why?
Wow.
Earlier this month, the man referred to only as Mr. Hugh had reportedly consumed 10 beers during a night on the town
So
before
far, so
coming
good.
home and crashing into an inebriated sleep. Somehow he never woke up to urinate after drinking that many beers. He just went to sleep and didn't empty his bladder once for a total of 18 hours, which doctors later explained could be tied to the alcohol's capacity to suppress the nervous system. It is possible that Hugh just didn't feel the sensation of needing to empty his bladder while he slept. That all changed when he woke up, though. In a report published in June, doctors at Zhuji People's Hospital in Zhejiang.
Wait a minute, let me check. Hold on, let me check to see if that's right.
Oh, shit.
Try it one more time.
Zhejiang?
Try it one more time.
Zhejiang. Zhejiang.
Okay,
It's just getting worse,
I'll give it
Stacey.
to you.
It's getting
I'll
worse.
give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
Wrote that the patient had said that when he woke up from his sleep, he started experiencing a sharp pain in his abdomen. When he was brought in by the ambulance, he was in so much pain that he couldn't even lie down. The emergency MRI quickly revealed the source of his this excruciating pain. The man's bladder had ruptured in 3 places.
Oof.
One of the discovered tears had opened up towards his abdominal cavity and had caused one of his intestines to enter the bladder. Ugh.
Oh.
This would have led to tissue death if left unfixed, so Hugh was prepared for emergency surgery and the team of surgeons managed to repair the bladder, preventing other complications. The 40-year-old is now in stable condition. Doctors warn that even though Mr. Hughes' case is extremely rare, it could theoretically happen to anyone. A human bladder is flexible and can increase in size as fluids are consumed, but has a limited capacity of around 450 to 500 milliliters. So it's recommended to pee regularly.
Yeah, I recommend that too.
Especially when consuming lots of fluids. Strangely enough, alcohol makes you need to... Why do they say pee instead of urinate? It's so weird. Even more often than if you were drinking the same quantity of water by suppressing the hormones that signal to the kidneys to stop making urine.
We're learning a lot.
However, Hughes' case, the alcohol seemed to have also suppressed his nervous system from conveying the need to empty his bladder to the brain. Doctors say that it takes about 10 hours for the human body to produce 2 cups of urine, which takes about 10 hours on the average. That is about how long you can hold in your pee without risking to cause damage to other internal organs.
Well, good for him. 40-year-old Mr. Hugh has finally emptied his bladder. And
How the hell?
I think he learned a lesson there.
Usually it's the other way around. If you're drinking that much alcohol and you fall asleep, you have a better chance of like pissing the bed,
of
right?
peeing the bed,
like
right.
Losing control.
The opposite happened with him.
Well, I mean, he must have a fucking steel trap down there. Some serious
we
muscle
also
work.
don't know what else he might have been doing, too. Maybe there was something else involved that they didn't...
But that, I think we talked about it on the show. That happened to me once when I broke my leg and I couldn't pee for like 2 days and I had to get a catheter in there to get the pee out. It was the fucking worst.
Oh, really?
But I think that was from painkillers.
It was from the painkillers.
Maybe he was on a bunch of opiates or something.
Yeah, it's the worst feeling. It's really scary. But luckily, my bladder did not burst.
Right.
Because that would have been
painful. Apparently,
did they say what happened to his bladder? I guess they have to sew it up afterwards.
Well, he had surgery to fix everything.
Okay, good. Well, that was bad news.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah, I would say.
Bad news, everybody. Thank you. Thank you to the news team. The Heavy Leather Horror News team,
crack news
my crack journalistic crew for that bad news. Okay, let's talk about some movies we've seen lately. I review all the movies I watch over at Letterboxd. Go to letterboxd.com/SleazeGrinder if you want to follow me. So let's find out what everybody has seen this week. Rui, the 16-year-old intern, what have you seen this week in the world of horror?
So I just got Shudder.
Okay.
Nice.
Very happy with it. I will say I haven't watched anything very new or very obscure.
Sure.
So it's probably things that at least everyone here has already seen. But I watched Return of the Living Dead.
Fantastic.
Nice.
I love that movie. Instant favorite. Yeah.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah. It's a good time. It's not the scariest movie there is, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. That's all you need. And the Cramps are in the soundtrack.
Sure.
The Cramps doing music for an 80s zombie movie is like the best combination I've ever heard.
Yep. And 45 Grave. It's got a great soundtrack. It's got Linnea Quigley.
Linnea Quigley as trash.
Little full frontal nudity from Linnea.
Oh yeah.
She's probably wearing a Merkin, but still. It's great characters, great special effects.
It's a fun one.
Yeah,
it's really fun.
One of the best.
Yeah.
So, Return of the Living Dead, right?
Yep.
And then what else? What else have you seen?
Well, I did watch the original Night of the Living Dead.
Okay.
And
how's that hold up to you?
I liked it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like. It's not very scary anymore, but I would say it's probably scarier than Return. But because it's trying to be scary. It's a good movie. I actually went down to the graveyard where they shot it because that's right outside of Pittsburgh. And I have family in Pittsburgh. So we went down there one year and drove around in that cemetery.
Wow,
I had
awesome.
never seen the movie before.
That's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. If you ever go down there, they actually have a museum, a zombie museum. It's got memorabilia and like posters. It's pretty cool. I'd recommend going down there if you can.
What I always found sort of fascinating about Night of the Living Dead is that when it came out in like 1968, I believe, and that was still the time where parents would drop their kids off at the movie theater for the double feature matinee for a quarter or whatever, so they could go and do their chores and then come pick them up later. And they were usually showing, they would show some Popeye cartoons and they would show some monster movies or whatever, and then kid-friendly fare for the most part. But but Night of the Living Dead, they just showed along with these other movies. They would probably show I Was a Teenage Werewolf or whatever, something light that the kids can watch, and then Night of the Living Dead, which is fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
So there's these like 10, 12-year-old kids watching Night of the Living Dead, but watching people getting eaten. It must have just blown their fucking minds. It's definitely not a movie for children, and the first audiences that really went to see it were children. It's a great movie, Night of the Living Dead. So there you go. Absolutely. And Shudder's great, especially how Rui hasn't been alive that long yet. He hasn't had enough time to watch every horror movie in the world. So Shudder is great because they do have a lot of the sort of classics to catch up on. So like every month, they put up like Sleepaway Camp and all that kind of stuff. Which if you're just coming into horror, you haven't seen all that stuff yet. My complaint for it is that if you have seen everything, then there's only like 2 or 3 things, new things a month. But still, they usually have good stuff, so it's still worth it.
Yeah, I'd recommend it.
There you go. Rui's into it. Larsa, how about you?
So this week I saw a lot of movies.
Okay.
We are making our roommate watch all the movies with us.
So when you say making her,
tying her down.
Yeah,
They're turning her into a horror fan.
So you're just like,
yeah,
what they're doing.
she's only not up for movies about like with this religious kind of like theme, like The Exorcist and kind of stuff. Like,
right.
You know, she doesn't like those, but she like the first Friday the 13th. She liked that one.
Yep.
She fell asleep halfway through Nightmare on Elm Street because it's about like a spirit and like dreams and she didn't like that one. I really like it.
Yeah.
I also saw, and I saw it by myself, Ma with Olivia Spencer.
Right.
Oh yeah, Jessica was there. I'm so confused. I watched so many movies. I was so disappointed with that one because they had like a really good cast. It has Olivia Spencer and Juliette Lewis, Luke Evans, and I'm thinking like, oh, this movie is gonna be good because these are big names.
Yeah,
and it was so crappy. Like it was so stupid. It didn't make sense at all to me. Yeah, she was bullied when she was a kid, and something weird happened. But whatever tricked her, it was a confusing thing because she also had like Munchausen disorder with her kid and stuff.
Right.
So I don't know. I was very disappointed with that one, but I also reactivated my Shudder subscription and I saw an Argentinian movie called Aterrados, which is terrified in English, and it was fucking terrifying.
Nice.
Like I like it because it was in Spanish, so I didn't have to start like reading or going back and forward because sometimes I get lost in translation. But this movie was terrifying. It's about like different realms of a paranormal thing going on. And in the first 10 minutes, when one of the characters it's banging against the bathroom walls was fucking scary. And the spirit that is controlling everything when you see it for the first time under the bed. And I watched it by myself and we put a curtain on the window. So it was fucking dark. It was 3:00, but it was super dark.
Yeah.
Everybody was doing something. So I watched this one by myself. And it really accomplished making me fucking scared. I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. If you like those type of movie, like Paranormal Activity and ghosts and stuff, I will highly recommend this one.
Okay, cool. So
We're gonna have to see that one.
It's a ghost story.
Yes,
Okay.
It's 3 houses that are in the same street, and all the spirits are between these houses and killing the people inside of those houses. And there's this group of elderly people that are following them to like kind of like Ghostbuster trap them and take them away of the houses and resolve the issues that we're having, because like people are getting arrested, like husbands and family members, because they think that they are the ones killing these people in the house, and it's the spirits in the house.
Wow.
So it was so good. Like I have no words of how good this movie is.
Terrified, everybody. Larsa recommends it.
Nice.
Very good. Stacy, do you have anything?
I watched Double Date.
Double Date.
It's from 2017, and it's a UK movie from the UK. And it's about this guy who is turning 30 years old, and he is still a virgin. So his friend is trying to help him meet someone to lose his virginity with. And meanwhile, there are 2 sisters who, their father, who was some kind of occultist or something, has passed away, and they're trying to perform a satanic ritual to bring their father back from the dead. So they're murdering unsuspecting men. And so these sisters' paths cross with these 2 guys.
Right.
And it's a horror comedy, and it's very entertaining. It's very light and it's very entertaining. It's a fun horror movie.
Very cool. Yeah, I like that one a lot. I like that one.
I love a good horror comedy.
Yeah. It's good. There's
Yeah.
the music is really good. The acting's decent. Everybody's it's funny. There's some real funny moments in it. It's good.
It's interesting, horror comedy is not really that easy to pull off because they're two sort of polar opposite things in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I find that for whatever reason, Brits seem to pull it off pretty well. A lot of it is, the sort of Shaun of the Dead model,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Of just having just funny characters in horrific situations. It just seems to work really well with.
I loved that Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Remember that one?
Yeah,
that one was great.
Yeah. But a lot of times it veers off into one or the other, and then it's not really accomplishing the goal of both. But Double Date was one that definitely did, and Tucker and Dale too. Very cool. Anything else, Stace? Is that it?
That's the only one.
Okay. Kelly, how about you?
I have two that I want to talk about.
Okay.
I kind of felt like I was on this Halloween horror kick.
Yeah.
So I just typed in Halloween horror movies, but not the actual Halloween movies, but just horror movies that take place on Halloween night. So I came across two and I watched them both.
Okay.
One is the movie Candy Corn from 2019. It was written and directed by John Hasty. He's also known for some involvement with the movie 31, and he did the documentary on the making of the movie called In Hell, Everybody Loves Popcorn.
Okay.
So it stars Pancho Moller. He was an actor in the movie 31. It also stars Sky Elabar, who's an amazing character in The Greasy Strangler.
Right.
Tony Todd is in it of Candyman, Courtney Gaines of Children of the Corn and the Burbs. So it has a great cast. Takes place on Halloween weekend. The premise is a group of guys. They basically harass this local named Jacob Atkins every year. It's like their fucking annual ritual of bullying or whatever. And this one year, they end up accidentally killing him. And Jacob Atkins he helps out with a local sideshow that's called Dr. Death's Sideshow Spook House Spectacular, which I think is a spectacular name for a sideshow.
Yeah, that's very good.
So the guy running it, the star's Pancho, he resurrects Jacob Atkins with some crazy, almost carved pumpkin looking mask on him. And he resurrects and brings him back from the dead to exact his revenge on all the guys that were bullying him. I thought it was really well done. I thought the acting was pretty decent in it. The kill scenes were amazing. And I read a bunch of reviews where people didn't like this movie, and they were saying that it was trying too hard to be a Rob Zombie movie. And I personally fucking hate Rob Zombie movies.
Yeah, right.
And except for The House of a Thousand Corpses, but everything else I think is fucking terrible, especially the movie 31. And I thought this movie was better than a Rob Zombie movie for sure. I highly recommend it. I think it's a fun Halloween slasher movie.
Yeah, I think it was really atmospheric, and it definitely does not have the thing that I really don't like about Rob Zombie movies, except for maybe Lords of Salem, is that there's all this just kind of gross out cruelty to his movies, and I didn't really see that in Candy Corn at all. So it's a little it has a little sort of the campiness of his movies, but I thought it was great. I just really like the colors. There was a lot of cool.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful. I would definitely watch this again.
For sure.
I think it's a really good one.
Excellent.
So I watched that, and then you want to talk about gross movies. And you know me, I love horror, and I disgusting horror.
Right.
I'm always looking for something that'll really shock me.
Yeah, sure.
So I watched 2016 Terrifier, which is, I'm sure you guys have all seen Art the Clown.
Yes, very frightening looking clown.
Very. I'm a bit of a clown snob, I think, from working in haunted houses for so long.
Yeah.
And this one is actually done super well. Just looking at him, he's fucking terrifying. He's not your typical big haired clown, like red wig thing, So it's just a little bit different. But this movie is definitely a movie that has just straight up, they're just going for shock value. It's about a sadistic clown who murders women on Halloween night. There's no fucking backstory. There's no explanation to anything. It's just this clown, he's out there killing women. And the thing is, with this movie, men die in the movie too, but men, they're all like fully clothed and they get like hit over the head.
Right.
The women, I would love to sit down with this director, Damien Leon. He must fucking hate women, because this movie is just like women getting their tits cut off.
Oh my
and
gosh.
it is fucking crazy. And so the Art the Clown is a short from another movie that he directed, which I put on, but I didn't finish. I only watched the first few minutes of it. It's called All Hallows Eve, and it's an anthology with like a few different shorts. Sure. And Terrifier was a short in that movie. So I think he actually made the Art the Clown Terrifier small, like the short in 2011, and then it went into the 2013 movie, and it probably was the best or scariest part of that All Hallows Eve. So then they made it a full feature.
Yeah.
It's just extremely deranged, extremely shocking. I mean, if it wasn't scary enough being a woman,
right?
It is just like, and I'll get to like a kill scene when we do Kill of the Week,
Okay.
but it's wild. A lot of people are not gonna like this movie.
Okay.
Ken, you'd probably fucking hate this movie because
Really?
it really is disgusting.
Okay. All right.
But if you like gore,
Yeah.
watch it. Just don't internalize anything and don't start hating women like this guy does.
So what you're saying is, I don't know if it's Stacy, is she recommending this film or not? I can't figure it out.
Not really.
Okay.
Only to people who like that sort of thing, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
If you like gore and you want to see some good special effects, then I recommend this movie.
Right.
If you're looking for more substance and a good storyline, I don't recommend this movie for you.
And if you're a fan of hardcore misogyny, it sounds like this is.
If you hate women, you will love this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. All right. So there you go from Kelly. Before I want to talk to you about two are solid, maybe not must-sees, recommendations, but not must-sees, but two I think that were really good. So the two that I think are, that are pretty good are, one is called I'll Take Your Dead. It's from 2018. So as a guy, he melts down bodies for low-level criminals on his remote farm. Like, that's his job. Criminals show up with a bunch of dead bodies, and he gets rid of the bodies. He's saving up so that him and his 13-year-old daughter can buy an RV and go to El Paso and live their lives. The mom died of leukemia. Things have been hard. He kind of ended up doing this job. That's the situation. One day, the bad guys drop off some bodies, and one of them, a woman, isn't actually dead. So the dad, not being a killer, decides to nurse her back to health. And when she comes to, she thinks she's a victim of kidnapping, so she calls her boyfriend. He dutifully shows up with his buds to kill her again, because he thought he killed her the first time.
Oh my God.
Because, she's like, hey, come and get me. And he's like, fuck, she's still alive. He had no idea. She had no idea that he's the one that shot her in the first place. So everybody shows up with guns to the house to kill them. But then a bunch of ghosts join in on the action. So
some random ghosts.
So there's a big shootout between the bad guys and then the guy that melts the bodies down and the 13-year-old daughter, and then a bunch of ghosts that all join in on the action too.
Wow. Yeah,
it's something.
It sounds wild.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
I'll Take Your Dead. It's a little more. It's the vibe is. It's definitely got. It's a downer, kind of a bummer vibe. It's not like crazy action. It's kind of sad. The whole thing's kind of sad. But it's definitely interesting and definitely unique. I'll Take Your Dead. The other one that's you don't have to see, but it would be good if you did, is called One Must Fall. It's from 2018. So there's a motley crew of goofs working as a forensic cleanup crew. And they end up locked in a warehouse with a serial killer intent on massacring them all. So basically what happens is, so the first half is this broad comedy in an office, and a bunch of people get laid off. And two of them end up on this forensic team where they have to clean up after murder scenes. And the girl, who's the final girl maybe, the first question she asks on the first day of training is, "Are we sure during these murder scenes that the murderer is no longer at the scene?"
Good question. I
Right.
mean,
And of course the guy is like, "Yeah, of course, yeah, the cops take care of all that." But the cops sometimes they don't take care of all that. So what happens is that they end up trapped in this warehouse with this crazy murderer. It's so the first half is sort of broad comedy, and then the second half is like brutal torture porn. So it's a weird mix, but it pretty much works. Also, it not only takes place in the 80s, but since 80% of the film is people in hazmat suits in a filthy warehouse, I mean, you can say it's the 80s. What difference is it going to make? You know what I mean?
Nobody's walking around with giant hair and
The
makeup.
Right. The final girl is very likable, though, and the murders are pretty brutal. So there's no complaints there. Yeah, and honestly, like literally, the components, like, oh yeah, you got to remember that this is the 80s. There would be like a pile of old like Pepsi cans with the old tabs.
Yeah.
So you go, oh yeah, right. Of course,
that was how it was the 80s.
Yeah, that's how it was the 80s.
Huh.
One Must Fall. So it's worth. You don't have to, but it's worth watching. The two that I really do recommend. One is called Fender Bender. It's from 2016. So it's a really well done and really pretty scary home invasion slasher mashup. And it's also well rooted in reality. Like, okay, yeah, this could happen for sure. So a 17-year-old girl gets into a fender bender with this kind of like slimy but seemingly normal middle-aged guy, right? And they exchange information, which is what you do, right? What we know and what she doesn't, because we've seen what happened in the first scene, is that he's actually this leather-bound serial killer. And this is
leather-bound?
Yeah, like head to toe in leather with a leather mask. And this is how he gets his victims' information. He crashes into them, gets their information, goes to their house and kills them.
Oh my God, that's terrifying.
Right, because it can happen, right? So what's great about this film is how it constantly toys with your expectations. So her mom grounds her for the accident, which should keep her safe because she's stuck at home. But then her family goes, you know what? We're going away for the weekend without you. So you're staying home. So now she's in the house alone. And then she takes a shower, and when she gets out of the shower, she finds muddy footprints in the hallway, and she sees on her phone that someone's took photos of her in the shower, and you're like, fuck,
oh my God,
the killer's here. But then when you assume her goose is cooked, her drunk ex-boyfriend shows up at the door with the muddy shoes and takes the blame, and he's like, oh yeah, that was me. And you go, phew. And then as soon as you're biting your nails about her being in the house alone, there's a loud knock on the door, and then you fear the worst, but it's just her two best friends, and you're like, oh, it's gonna be okay. But then the fucking killer ends up somehow poisoning her two best friends. It's like every 5 minutes you're like, holy shit.
What a roller coaster of emotions you must
really,
be feeling.
It took me to so many different places. It's intense stuff. Very well written, very well executed. And again, the killer is just terrifying.
Leather Daddy.
True Leather Daddy. Fender Bender. 2016. Check that out. By the way, it's on Amazon Prime for free, so you can go and see that for nothing.
Definitely sold that one.
And the top pick for me this week is also from 2018, and it's called Anyone Home? ? Monique Gabriella Kunin is the actress's name. She gets a live-in job staging homes. She's a single mom with a serious mental health issue. And an exceedingly odd but well-meaning kid who's like 10 years old, who's just trying to keep his mom from going off the rails. Like he has like all of her meds in like one of those pill boxes, and he makes sure that she takes them so she doesn't go off the rails again. And it's a really weird situation. So the concept is there's all these abandoned condo complexes in the middle of the desert. They're like in Arizona or Nevada or something. So the idea is that they hire people to stage to put furniture and furnishings in the houses and to live in there so that people can come and see what it looks like. So they pay them to live there. It's like it's a weird job that may or may not actually exist, but it does in this movie. So there's nothing going on in the town. The only action town is a half-dead craft store that she goes to all the time. There's at the end of the street, there's a creep in an RV lurking around. And then there's this very intense supervisor played by Kathy Baker that shows up to make sure she's doing what she's supposed to do. But then she stops taking her meds and she starts getting increasingly weird. And I don't really want to just even talk about how weird or what kind of weird. But every day at the craft store, things are getting stranger and stranger. There's something wrong with literally every character in this film, and you are nervous about all of them all the time. I mean, you suppose you could call it a horror thriller with some black humor, but mostly this is just an hour and a half of extreme discomfort, and it really kept me on the edge of my seat the entire time. You were just so worried about everybody in the film. It was incredible. It's wild. Anyone home? ? Check
Anyone
that out.
Home.
That's my
Sounds
top.
Great.
That's my top pick of the week. And there you go, everybody.
I really do love a movie that makes you feel uncomfortable.
For sure. And this
For
one,
some reason.
and definitely not. I mean, and there are ways that they can make you feel uncomfortable. And this was not in the sort of torture porn kind of way. This was more in that you were invested in these characters you are hoping that they make it through, especially because they're sympathetic. It's a woman, it's a single mom just trying to take care of her kid with mental health issues. It's a kid stuck in a terrible situation. I was a little kid with two parents with mental health issues, so I understood where this kid was coming from, where you suddenly have to be the adult in the situation, and you're just trying to, but you're a kid, you're incapable of it. So, I don't know. Really, really well done. Anyone home? ? Stace, it's time for Best Kill of the Week.
That is gross.
Let's get to it. Rui, what's the best kill of the week?
Let's see. That would probably be from Return of the Living Dead. And, I mean, there's a lot of head gore.
Yeah.
So all the zombies bite at the head, and it's pretty sick. It's pretty disturbing. I mean, there's some, good zombie, not exactly kills, because you can't kill these zombies. But there's one right at the very beginning, so it's not a spoiler, but where they get the zombie, right? And they take a pickaxe, and they try to kill it by driving the pickaxe through its skull. And so you just got the head of the zombie, which is still alive, just pinned to the floor, and they sawed off the head, so the body is separate, but it's still alive. It's still moving. That was pretty cool.
Good stuff. And the tar zombie was the best in that one too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Love that movie.
The other you could tell there's two zombies they really put their time into: the tar zombie and then the trash zombie. But the trash zombie honestly just looks like what would happen if Johnny Rotten did twice as many drugs as Sid Vicious.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Larsa, what's the best kill of the week?
So I think for me, it's in that movie Terrified, Aterrados.
Yep.
When the first...
I like the way you say that. Can you say that again?
Aterrados.
Nice.
So the first person that you actually see get killed, and it's the one that it's the death that starts the whole thing, is this woman that tells the husband, I can hear something coming out of the sink telling me that it's gonna kill me.
Yeah.
And then the next early morning, he starts hearing some bangs in the wall, and when he goes to the bathroom, a spirit has possessed the wife, and it's banging the wall showers and the showers to the side, against all the sides of the tub, and her head, it's all smashed and all the blood starts coming out, and it's so gross and so good at the same time. So I think that is my killing of the week.
Wow. Intense. Terrified from Argentina. All right, very good. Stace, do you have a best kill of the week?
Well, in Double Date, the very early in the movie, like really in the very beginning, one of the sisters is stabbing one of her victims while only the song "Only You" by Yaz plays.
Yeah,
I love that song,
and it's so hilarious because of the way that song goes.
Yeah.
And she's like stabbing him to the music.
Nice.
Wow,
I like that.
That's gonna make me like every time I hear that song now. I'm just gonna think of that.
In very good. In One Must Fall, the killer stabs a guy. That's the one in the warehouse. The killer stabs a guy in the back of the head with garden shears, and they go all the way through, so his eyeballs get skewered on the end of the blades.
Wow, both of them?
Yeah, both of them. That was pretty good, like a cartoon, with the.
That's eyeballs. Like a perfect shot there.
Yeah, that was mine. What about yours, Kelly?
I mean, it's definitely in Terrifier. There's a scene where one of the Art the Clown's victims is tied up in a chair, and she's got duct tape over her mouth. And the clown shows that he has another woman tied up upside down, so her legs are spread open, up in the air.
Yeah.
And he's like putting on a show for the girl sitting in the chair, basically. So he rips the woman's underwear off and takes a hacksaw and just saws her from vagina to head, like saws her completely in half, which I think that was a medieval torture. Like they actually did that to people.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's called, but like just right down the center. It's really disgusting.
Not with but they didn't have chainsaws in the medieval.
Well, it's not a chainsaw; it's a hacksaw.
Oh, it's a hacksaw.
So it's like a hand saw.
Okay. All right, that makes more sense.
He's like sawing away, like it, pretty vigorously.
Fucking Art the Clown, man.
It's disgusting.
Ugh.
But I couldn't look away.
But what's done is done, and I suppose we just move on with our lives.
I guess we do. But in fact, I hear that there's a sequel on the way too.
There is. They announced that back in May that they were in the middle of making a sequel, but there's no release date for it yet. I mean, I'll probably watch it because I'm a psycho, but
people can't get enough of this Art the Clown. Do you think he's going to be Art the Clown will be popular this Halloween as a costume? Kelly?
It would be. You'd have to be pretty good at like makeup because he's got some crazy prosthetics going on and some wild teeth. But I'm sure like a hunter could pull it off pretty well. It would be fucking terrifying. It's the character alone is really scary. I actually could picture this being a character like in a haunted house.
Yeah,
it's just so scary to look at. You know,
right. All right, well, gird your loins, everybody, for Terrifier. I don't know if I can handle it myself, but
I don't think so.
Hey, this week's group watch is an Australian film. It's called Two Heads Creek, which was just released this week and is currently streaming on Amazon and elsewhere. Here is the summary, care of IMDb. A timid butcher and his drama queen twin sister quit the hostile confines of post-Brexit Britain and adventure to Australia in search of their birth mother. But the seemingly tolerant townsfolk are hiding a dark, meaty secret. It stars Catherine Wilder as Annabelle, Jordan Waller as Norman, and a bunch of Australians covered in mud, basically. Should we hear? Hey, let's hear a little bit of the song that Apple performed in it. It's very catchy, and and I really like it. It's here we go. Yes.
So good.
Such a great song.
Amazing song.
It's a horror movie, and it's shocking me right out of my brain. That's what happened with when Kelly saw Terrifier.
Shocked me right out.
In the middle of the movie,
Right there
there
on
is
her TV.
right in the middle of the movie there is there's a musical number. It
Yeah,
says.
out of nowhere, really.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So let's talk about this movie. So what happens is there's a family in England, and they're Polish. They seem just like regular British people to me, but
They did to me too, yeah.
Right. They didn't really sell the fact that they were immigrants,
Their family members did. The other women in the shop
Right.
did. But
They really, they dressed
few
up and
did not.
whatever. But these guys, you would have to tell people that you were Polish, otherwise you certainly wouldn't know. Anyway, it's a very racist town that they're living in England, and they really don't like having a Polish butchers. So they're the local teenagers are threatening them and throwing shit at the windows and everything else. So it's just not a good scene. So what happens is that mom dies, and they find out that and it was their mom's butcher shop, and they find out that the mom wasn't actually their mom at all, but their mom is a woman named Mary that lives in a place in Australia called Two Heads Creek. So they were like, let's just sell this butcher shop and go see our real mom in Two Heads Creek. And so
wait, so they weren't Polish?
They weren't Polish.
Yeah. So that's why they didn't look Polish, because their mom wasn't Polish.
Their mom wasn't even. I just thought of it. You just blew my mind, because they weren't even Polish in the first place. So they were being discriminated for no reason because they were actually Australian.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, son of a bitch! If you were Australian, if you were born in Australia, and then you were sent as children, because what happened is. They started growing up in Australia. For some reason, they don't remember any of this. But all the pigs died, and they blamed it on the children. And so the mom sent the kids to her best friend, who is this Polish woman in England, so that they didn't kill the kids or whatever, because they thought that the kids were the ones that caused all the pigs to die. Somehow or another, it's because some old guy fucked all the pigs, I think. And that's
yes.
Right? I don't know how.
Yeah.
I don't know how fucking the pigs is going to kill all the pigs. It's going to annoy them.
It's best not to think about it.
It's going to annoy.
I like to pretend that part didn't happen.
Like it's going to annoy the pigs, but I don't know what's going to kill the pigs, because they said all the pigs died at once. So anyway, they go, okay, we'll start a new life in Australia. And as soon as they get there, they realize this was a terrible, terrible idea. And because the townsfolk are just a very strange, everybody's inbred, everybody's filthy.
Everybody's racist.
Exactly.
Up.
Xenophobic.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's like the big theme of the movie, is xenophobia.
And very obsessed with sausage and meats of all kinds.
Meats of all kinds.
Which,
it goes exactly where you think it's going, let's put it that way.
And fairly quickly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
you figure it out very, very soon.
Yeah, exactly. And then so once they realize that they are at a town full of cannibals, our two heroes, Annabelle and Norman, have to figure out how to save their mom and turns out their sister, and get out of Two Heads Creek. And then it turns into a whole. There's a lot of blood and guts and gore, and that's the story of Two Heads Creek. So let's talk about what we thought about this movie. Hey, Stacy, what did you think about Two Heads Creek? Stacy had interestingly, Stacy was like, there's an homage to this, and then there's an homage to that. So I thought it would be interesting to hear your take on it, Stacy.
So if you're a fan of Shaun of the Dead and Edgar Wright movies, you know how there's a lot, like every time something happens, there's like a sound effect, like. Like that kind of thing. Like they do a lot of that, and that reminded me of the Shaun of the Dead stuff. Like
I can totally see that.
Yeah, so I felt was sort of an homage to that. And then the song that we heard that Ken played, very Rocky Horror-ish.
Yeah.
Right there on my TV. Horror movie right there on my TV.
And it's shocking me right out of my mind.
There was something else. Now I can't remember what it was.
Oh, the other thing too is there's a song that I in the title song.
Oh, right.
By Norman Rowe, who you said reminded you very much of a Tarantino.
Yeah,
song.
the song that the credits song is very Quentin Tarantino because he always uses 60s music in his films.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of reminded me of that. So I thought that was kind of interesting too. I thought the movie itself was it's very entertaining. It's got some funny moments. It's the musical thing comes out of nowhere, really. I mean, it was really great, but it really comes out of nowhere. It's like, what? But I thought they, it's very predictable in the beginning. Like, you totally know where it's going once they get to Australia. But didn't matter because I think it was a lot of fun.
And it was like the musical number was just like it was like bargain basement cardboard Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It was not high budget.
And it's interesting too. There's another pretty serious Australian horror movie that I also recommend that I think is very good. It's from 1970. It's called Wake and Fright, and it's about a guy that goes on vacation to a small town in Australia and ends up cockfighting is big in this town, so he ends up gambling away his money, and then he can't get out of the town. And it's the same sort of thing where there's like everybody is, first of all, Australia is very, very hot, so everybody ends up being sweaty and dirty a lot, and like there was a lot of scenes that were very similar, like when they went to the hotel / bar. It was very similar, where it's just like these grizzled, sweaty local yokels who don't like interlopers in their town, and there's just like this constant. Outsiders are just a constant threat to people, and so Wake and Fright is sort of like the serious version of this. Reminded me a lot of it, but anyway. Really a fun movie. Rui, what'd you think of Two Heads Creek?
Oh, I liked it. I liked it a lot. You understand, you get the vibe of the movie very quickly. You understand it's not going to be like the most serious movie ever, and it puts you in the mood to just have some fun.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. We got to do the dings. So that's a ding for Rui. That's a ding for Stacey. Let's hear from what Lursa thought of the. By the way, Lursa's been to Australia.
Yes. I was pretty excited when they're like, "Oh, we're gonna go to Australia and find our mom." I'm like, yeah, I've been there. And then they're like, "Oh, we're going to Queensland." I'm like, yeah, I've been to Queensland. So it was super fun to me to watch. What I didn't understand, but it is the way the movie is, and it's a fun movie. I recommend it because it's such a fun movie. It's why they decided to eat people when in Australia you can eat kangaroo, and there's a lot of kangaroos going around. Like, you don't have to go and eat people. Just, run over a kangaroo and eat it. It tastes good. It's a good meat. It's a little bit salty, but it's good. But I really like it. It's very straightforward. You know what's going to happen. This is it is pretty straightforward. What confused me, and I was kind of like expecting it, but then I laughed when it happened, is that the sister that he kind of like start liking the sister, and he starts like kind of like developing, I think, something for the sister, and then the mom is like, "Oh, that's your sister." Right. I'm like, "Oh, fucking gross." Well, we all knew that was gonna happen. I really like it. I will recommend it.
They did mention as I think probably as an explanation about how addictive human flesh is after you start eating it.
But it makes you crazy, and then it's just
that explains. Is supposed to explain why everybody was nuts.
Yeah. So I think there's probably and I feel like I've read that before too, that it's almost like a mad cow disease thing, that if you eat human flesh, it can affect your mind in some sort of way.
We'll have to test that out somehow.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, who knows how things are going to go. I would like to follow up if I could. Larsa, can you just explain in what context you ate kangaroo? Was it like a kangaroo burger, or was it kangaroo?
So when we went down there for our premiere year's trip, I always heard and I read about like kangaroo meat being like, cows for us here.
Yeah.
So as soon as they let us know that we're going to Australia, the first thing I asked was, are we going to eat kangaroo? Because I really want to try it. And everybody else freaked out, especially the girls. Because we went to a sanitarium and they're like so soft and so cute. But we went to the sanctuary first. And then a couple of days later, we went to the Gold Coast, and then we had a barbecue, and we ate kangaroo hot dogs.
Ooh, kangaroo hot dogs!
It's funny because they don't use hot dog bread; they use like sandwich bread, and they just fold it in half. Yeah, super cheap. They do have hot dog bread, but they don't buy it. They just use like sliced bread.
Okay.
It tastes kind of like gamey and salty, like. You can say, have you ever tried elk?
No.
So like venison.
Yeah, it's super salty and it's super pink. When you cook it, like the hot dogs were like super pink. But if you buy a steak kangaroo, you have to know how to cook it. You cannot like do like when we go to like, I don't know, Costco and buy ribeyes and we just do it here. You cannot cook kangaroo steaks at home unless you know how to do it, because the smell is like super strong and it will impregnate in everything. That's why I didn't buy the meat at the supermarket and cook it myself at the hotel, because they told me not to do it. But it was good.
So Larsa is saying, hey, I don't know why they're eating people. They could just eat kangaroo.
Sweet little kangaroos.
But she's going kangaroo. It's really salty. It's really pink, and like nothing what you're saying sounds appealing to me about this meat.
It was good. I like it. I was also laughing at the little toy he had, the wombat, which is just a stupid kind of bear, and he was like so obsessed with the wombat kind of like thing he had from when he was a kid. I
love wombats.
We saw those too, and we saw the Tasmanian devil at that sanctuary, and it was funny because this lady that was with us started yelling "Taz, Taz!" like super ridiculous. I was so ashamed of that. Yeah. But it was good.
It's funny, the Tasmanian devils, the animals, don't look anything like the Tasmanian devil cartoon.
No.
Right?
They look like rats, like really black, bigger rats.
Yeah, I was disappointed when I finally saw what they actually looked like. They didn't look like Tasmanian devil
at all. Yeah.
I personally think that I could eat a person before a kangaroo.
Probably, yeah.
Hey, here's the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting about this movie is that throughout the movie, the character of Norman, who's the son, he is characterized as being effeminate throughout the
but he's
the
not
film. Right, but he's
not. He's just a guy.
He's just a guy, right?
Yeah, that's where like he wasn't like he's not like super macho or anything, but he's just a regular guy.
Right.
There were a lot of undertones where they were like just calling out a lot of things. Like there was a lot of like racism in the movie too. Like the bus driver was like an Aboriginal.
Right.
So when he's sitting there talking about, he's like, "Oh, you think you've been through some shit? Let me tell you some shit."
Right.
And then they leave him to clean up all the bodies.
Yeah. I loved this movie so much.
Yeah, so I didn't really understand why Norman was supposed to be effeminate, except that as a contrast to his sister, who is supposed to be the take charge, the boss of the whole.
And even still, she's not that much.
But she wasn't even that much. She wasn't even that bossy either. So I don't know.
But he also like calls her out. Like when people did make comments to him, he like called her out and was like, "Oh, this is effeminate because of this." I thought they were trying to do that on purpose. You know what I mean?
They did a pretty good job of making I thought a realistic brother and sister kind of relationship.
Yeah.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Overall, all right. Let's find out what Kelly Kapow thought of this film.
I mean, as soon as we put it on and the opening scene, I was like, I'm gonna love this movie. I know I'm gonna, because it was just like we were just talking earlier about horror comedies, and it was just like a perfect horror comedy. It was fun. It was silly and ridiculous, and yeah, you knew what was happening. It wasn't some big secret. But they did it really well, and they just like really portrayed these like when you think of like a hick or like a awful person, you just picture yourself right in the middle of fucking New Hampshire.
Yeah.
But like, so it was like that,
Right.
it was like plumpers in Australia, and I thought it was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I thought it was great too. It's kind of like a slapsticky version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 or something. And
yeah.
And just really fun characters, and I liked how dirty everybody was too. I appreciate that, because I always think about how it is to film something like that. Filming anything in Australia has to be arduous anyway because it's so fucking hot. But then just to be covered in mud and blood and meat for however many weeks that they were filming it.
It was normal hot. It wasn't that hot.
Really?
Yeah, it was. Well, they have all.
You say normal hot.
Yeah,
what
normal hot.
Yeah, but normal hot for you is
like
normal hot for me is like 75 degrees. I'm like,
we're New Englanders. We thrive in the snow.
Yeah, come on, buddy. You're from
it
your
was
tropical
like
climate.
78, 85, depending on the day. So it wasn't that bad, but it was a little bit humid though.
It is so.
It depends on the
It's
time
so
of year,
hot in
yeah.
Australia that you can only live on the. Nobody lives in the middle of it because it's too hot to live.
It's a desert there. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty much.
It's as hot as you can get in Australia. So please, if you're thinking about traveling to Australia, don't listen to Larsa. I don't know how she got there when it was 78 degrees out, because most of the time it's 125 degrees out.
That must be like the low average.
She was there in the middle of winter or something.
And we were only we went there when it was kind of like fallish.
Yeah.
When we left, it was becoming winter over there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, the only thing that would bring me to Australia would be like the wombats, because I watched Love Island Australia. I know what the people are like. Okay.
I love that show.
Really?
We
Oh my
love
God.
it. We're obsessed with it.
All those people on that show were awful. I don't know. I just picture Australia just being like hot with like mean people. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I don't know.
Here's the
Our
thing.
Australian friends are very nice.
They are. They're
they're
super,
very
they're
nice.
they're very sweet.
I take it all back.
Hey, Kelly, how Salem is this movie?
No, it's not. 2, maybe.
Okay. And
What do you think?
I forgot to ask last week how Salem Aqua Slash is.
Not Salem at all.
You're
Negative.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
1,200.
Are you not feeling any better about Aqua Slash after a week?
I think because that's my own hate for that fucking movie. No, I hate that movie.
That movie is definitely not.
I would
Salem.
watch that movie in your backyard, Ken, just because you love it so much. And it would bring me joy to see you have joy.
Okay.
But I hate that fucking movie.
All right. All right, Stace, little plug music, and we'll get out of here. It's thank you. Go to our YouTube page to see our TV show. Who knows if we'll ever get to do another one, Stace? But
Oh boy.
we're gonna start doing this show in my backyard, I think so. The only problem is we're gonna have to. How we're gonna get our sofa out of the studio and into my backyard? That's my only question.
I have no idea.
Can we put
You could get the one from Somerville.
Rui, let's drag that one from Somerville to my backyard somehow. We can do that. We'll put it on some wheelies.
Yeah, I think it's actually opening up for members. So.
We'll just push it.
Yeah.
Go to our YouTube page to see our TV show, youtube.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show. You can go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/Heavy Leather Horror Show for news updates and lots of fun. If you want to check out our old show, Heavy Leather Topless Dance Party, you can find that and everything else at heavyleatherforever.com. I have a music podcast with my buddy Swilson. It's called Advanced Demonology. You can find that wherever podcasts are sold. Also, you can listen to this anywhere. You can listen to this show on Facebook or YouTube, but you can also listen to it on Spotify. You can listen to it on iTunes. You can listen to it on Stitcher. You can listen to it virtually anywhere. It's not hard to find.
Shit.
We're on the Campaneros radio network. GoGoCampaneros.com is their site, so you can check out Movie Melt, Gets Off with Dr. Snuggles, Songs on Trial, and the Heavy Leather Horror Show podcast. And interestingly, Kelly and I will be on Get Soft very soon.
Yes.
It's going to be fun.
We'll be getting hard with Dr. Snuggles.
Yeah, we'll be getting hard with Get Soft. So that's it for us this week. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to seeing everybody next week. Until then, everybody, stay spooky. Come on, do it louder. Come on, let's do it. Stay spooky.
We gotta get out of here.